Good evening. I call to order the December 4th, 2024 meeting of the Apache Junction Parks and Recreation Commission at 6 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. May I have roll call, please? Oh, I don't know if you're on.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Here.
You're on.
Indeed. I did not touch.
D.L. Kine,
Here.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Here.
Felicia Madrid,
Here.
Heather Moeller,
Here. All right. So the commission may, at this time, take single action or on any or all items listed on consent agenda items. These include acceptance of agenda and acceptance of minutes. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. May I have approval, acceptance of the agenda meetings?
I move that the Parks and Rec Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the November 6, 2024 regular meeting.
And may I have a second?
I'll second that.
And may I have roll call, please?
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Heather Moeller,
Yes.
and that motion passes.
Thank you. All right, commissioners, at this time, if you would like to share any activities that you participated with Parks and Recreation since the last we met, we would love to hear about it. Anybody would like to start us out?
I'll go.
All right.
Super busy month personally, but I did get to go to the skate park with my girls, so that was cool. My little one's learning how to skate, and I didn't read the update on the fencing, but we just like it open. It looks so nice. And it hasn't happened yet, but tomorrow DL and I are going to go to the paint night at Catwagon, so we're super excited about that. They've been selling out as far as I know, so super popular.
This is the first time in a year and a half that I have not been at the senior center for a full month.
What?
I know. I'm jonesing.
Well, and I'm going to be at the Paint the Rocks, which is, I love doing that. So I'm looking forward to doing that this Friday.
Speaking of paint, I went to Paint at Tech Park. I feel like all of our stuff is painted related. I went there for a night walk with my parents, which was really nice. They couldn't stop talking about how amazing it was. And it just is beautiful. I will probably be there quite regularly now, once that I heal up and get more walking done.
Well, I signed up with Jared for Saturday. I don't know if he has a role for Grinch or not. And then I've been still haunting the MGC, and I started to bicycle around town so I can have some updates on the wonderfulness of biking around Apache Junction.
And your input is?
We have, well, the new roads are really nice. The old roads.
You can share that with Public Works. They're all about the bikes, so.
They have a lot to be
Awesome.
desired other places.
Had a great time at Painted Sky Park, grand opening at Blossom Rock. That was fantastic. Saw some faces. I know you were there. We forgot the dates. It's all right. But thank you so much for sharing. May I have Superintendent Dave Butler do the staff report, please?
Sure. So tonight, I'm going to go over a couple projects. I do have pictures tonight.
I love pictures.
Probably not as many as Jamie, but I do have pictures. Couple quick things is the fencing at SSP is fully done now, so all of the dugouts and all of the outfield fence has been replaced. And I know last month we were almost done with the Ramadas at Prospector, but every roof on the Ramada at Prospector has been finished now. A couple of things that we're working on right now is the drainage and ADA stuff at SSP. So I thought I'd just kind of walk through some of these with you just so you can get a scope of how big of a project it actually is. This is right by the tennis courts, and they've already started removing concrete, already started setting some foundations and some grades. It's just a big project. So I know we come in and we talk about these things a lot, but you don't really get to see how big they actually are until you're actually there on site. This is just some of the stuff we took out.
Wow.
And this is just one of the crossings that we're doing. So these are the old drain pipes that, worked and sometimes didn't work. You can see all the holes through them. So that's part of the reason that drainage doesn't work the way it was designed, is it's just corroded and doesn't actually flow the way it should.
How old is it, Dave?
25, 30 years old, probably.
Wow.
Different, yeah, it's hard to tell which phase was done at which time sometimes, so it's somewhere between 20 and 30 years old. So these are just the pipes that were in the ground. This is all the old railings we've pulled out. This is all what we're transitioning to, so it's all concrete, so you're not gonna get holes and stuff in it. It's just gonna last probably longer than any of us are ever gonna live, so. That's just the concrete we've taken out from the one section. So we're doing 2 of these crossings right now, and that's just from one. And we're still not done taking concrete out. So they're actually down there right now working on this, and they'll be working on it through the end of this calendar year. But it's a pretty big project, so there's a lot going on down there with that.
What do you do with all that concrete?
They'll take it to a dump and dispose of it.
This is a contractor we have, right? We're not doing this in-house?
We are not doing this in-house, no. This is all through a contractor. It's a little bit more than we could do ourselves, so. Next one, this is all the fencing and infield stuff we've done at Little League. So again, all new fencing, all new dugouts, all new outfield and facility fencing. Just wanted to show this. We've got new yardage markers out there for the outfield. The guys have spent a ton of time working on the infields out there too, so just bringing in new infill material, grading everything out, trying to get everything as level as we can. And we're early because we don't actually start out there till February, but we wanted to get it done now while we had a little bit of time.
Sorry.
The next one is always a crowd favorite,
Yeah.
the Christmas tree. Everyone likes seeing it up, it's the brand new tree. It's our second year putting it up. So we're real happy we got that done. Speaking of crowd favorites, we got a couple of guys here that everybody loves to see these guys, 75 feet over the ground, putting the tree up with our safety harnesses. And then this is a preview of some new stuff we've added to the tree. Little sneak peek for you guys.
Because we didn't do the numbers on the countdown last year, right?
We did not.
Nice.
And to see the rest of it, you got to be there on Saturday night at 6:30 for the tree lighting.
We'll be there.
Teaser.
So just a little teaser of some of the new features we've added to the tree for this year. We're super excited. There's new songs, new light sequences. We're real happy with it. So
is this stuff you guys can program into it?
it is. It's full. It's all programmable. We don't do it ourselves. It's something that the company we purchased the tree from. You purchase songs and light programs from them. So we have added 2 different light sequences and songs this year.
Cool.
So that's kind of what we're working on now. The other projects that we have coming up that I just want to let you guys know about, not all of, but a good portion of the area lighting at Superstition Shadows Park is about to be replaced. So around the pathway, around the playground, all new poles are going in. We're hoping to do that. There's pretty long lead time on some of those items, so we're hoping January timeframe. We're also changing out, adding secondary sanitation to both pools at the Aquatic Center. Again, it's a long lead time, so we're hoping January for that one to be done as well. And then we actually have set dates for the transition of the showers at the MGC. So if you guys remember, we're adding showers and converting those some of the locker room into single stall showers. So that work will start February 24th. So just give you guys an early heads up on that. So I know Jamie and Rec is working on some messaging to go out when those will be down for about 120 days. So it'll take a good bit of time to completely convert those over. And then the last big upcoming project is, I know we just opened the Painted Sky Park, but we are just going into design of the Central District Park at Blossom Rock. So that doesn't really kick off until January, but that is our next big upcoming project down there. So that is all that I have, unless you have any questions for me.
How many showers did you say is going to be now?
It'll be 3 showers total, so an additional shower, but they will all be unisex, gender-neutral showers. So no longer men's and women's.
Oh, okay. Interesting. We'll see like plans for that or something.
We have plans that we can get those planned. I can get you a copy of the layout.
Yeah, yeah.
So
To
So-
see how
so-
it'll change.
Right now, there's a shower in the men's and a shower in the women's? Or there's just a shower in?
right now, there's just a single stall in both locker rooms, and we are converting to gender-neutral single stalls that don't actually go into the restroom. So it'd just be a shower room at the end of that hallway.
Okay.
Oh, a separate room.
Is that where the laundry room is?
Yes, on that side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, not, it's on that side of the building. It's on the hallway side where the showers will be.
Okay.
Interesting.
That'll be a good one. We can definitely bring it as a,
Yep.
we can show the layout in next meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be good to be able to see what the update will be.
All right. Thank you very much for that. So we got presentation, discussion, update, and hopefully pictures from upcoming events and activities with Jamie.
Good evening, commission members. Yes, I always have pictures, even if I'm getting them at the last minute. But, so we had a very busy November. We moved S'mores and Stories from Silly Mountain out to the rodeo grounds, mainly to make me feel a lot better that I wasn't going to burn down our mountain. So, but it was very successful. There was a lot of space out there. It was very roomy. It was, we took registration this year to make sure that we could, account for how many people came. We had our full moon hike at Silly Mountain, which was absolutely stunning, and completely full as well. Line dancing on Thursday evenings has been very popular, so we had a good crowd. And again, that came out of the request from the public when they saw it being offered during the day of saying, hey, what about us people that work? So now we have it on Thursday evenings. Anybody who's interested, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, it's Footloose. So if you've always wanted to learn the Footloose dance, you can come learn it next Thursday night. As you guys mentioned, Paint with Pipes, we've had 2, and they are full. They've both been full. We have our next one coming up, and it will probably be full. We only have 1 spot left as of yesterday. So super excited to paint with you guys. We finished up our pickleball tournament, which was a good success. There's some pictures on there. Usually we all think that after the first week in December, we all breathe kind of a sigh of relief and we're going to have a little bit of break before we get into January, and that is definitely not the case anymore. So Friday night, we start off Fridays at Flatiron. So Judy, if you want to come get a bite to eat and then go paint rocks at the MGC, I would recommend it. Saturday is our big event in the evening with the light parade. And yes, even now, if you find that you have some free time and you want to volunteer, please let us know. We'll find a spot for you. If you can't do the afternoon, evening, then you can come help pull weeds at Silly Mountain in the morning because we have a pull event also on that day. On the 14th, we have Shop with a Cop. We assist with that. A lot of our staff will be out there. I will be wrapping presents because I love to wrap. So again, if you're looking to volunteer, check in with Riley. She'll put you to work. We'll be at Radiance's grand opening of their community center in the evening. We have a movie in the park that night, which is Elf on the Shelf. If you want to get out there and play some football in the morning is our football tournament, our Jingle Bowl. So yes, we have a lot going on. Moving into the next weekend, the 21st, we will have Santa Paws. And we will be at both parks. So we'll be at the Dutchman first for a couple of hours, and then we'll be moving up to the dog park at Blossom Rock for a couple of hours, and that information is all online. So a lot of our classes, if you guys are interested in participating in anything that you see come up with that requires registration, please register because they are filling up. We haven't seen immense wait lists, so there's no need to try to, add extra classes, but it would look really bad for me to try to get you in once it's full, so please register on time. That concludes my report, unless you guys have questions.
The Footloose one, is that registration, did you say?
Nope, you just show up on Thursdays. It's $3 at 6 p.m.
Are you still doing the afternoon one too?
So there's one during the day. I don't remember, Wednesdays? Yes. Yep, she's teaching both, so.
Well, that's really nice, because I know I saw all of that feedback, people looking for an evening, so I'm really glad that worked out.
Yep, we've got about, I think, 20 last week, 25 in the evening, Thursday evening, so.
And what's the age on that?
It's all ages.
Oh, okay.
As long as they're behaved. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You're out of here.
And then for volunteering for everything, we're going to Riley.
No,
Oh.
so just if Shop with the Cop, Riley is very much involved with. Anything else, you can let me know, or if it's, Jared does events.
Okay.
So, but you can start with me and I'll get you in the right direction.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Next, we will have old business, the discussion and update on Tree City USA by Liz.
So thank you. We are just giving you a quick update. So it's time to turn in our application for recertification this year. So this is our first time doing a recertification. Just as a reminder, the few ticked off items that we have to do in order to qualify to be Tree City USA or to keep our designation. There has to be a department designated, and that's us. We have to have a tree ordinance, and you guys all approved that a couple of years ago. And then we have to budget of at least $2 per capita on tree and tree care. We currently are at $2.93 per capita, which is really awesome. Part of that was helped tremendously by the addition of Blossom Rock and a lot of that stuff that's kind of happening that added a big chunk that we didn't have before, but we definitely meet the $2 need each year. This year, one of the items that we have to talk about what our tree inventory is, how many trees we maintain and prune. This year, 788 new trees were planted. Oh, great, I wrote it twice. Good, so I wouldn't forget. Primarily, most of that, like all but maybe 25, 30-ish, are all in the Blossom Rock area, of course. And then 1,992 trees are cared for and pruned within our, and again, part of that is, a good chunk of that is in the Blossom Rock area, but over half of that number is in all the rest of our parks that our maintenance team or our contractors take care of. And then the final criteria is that you have to have an Arbor Day proclamation, which we did last April, and an event, which was our Ladybug Release Earth Day event. This year, because we are a continuing member, we have the opportunity to also submit for a growth award, and so that's given out to cities that exceed expectations and go above and beyond. And so you have to have, I shared with you guys at the last meeting the big long list of the different types of items that you could select from to do each year. You need 10 points, and so these are the items that we are actually submitting for just in case any of them. So we have to submit our documentation, but in case they think we don't have enough to qualify for those points, we definitely are going to be adding a few extras in there just to make sure. So this year we created a donation account for trees through the Friends of AJ. So we have multiple different designated budget lines, but there's one dedicated solely to people who want to either donate a tree or have a tree in somebody's memory. We'll be kind of rolling that out in a more formal way also now that we've had that. Continuing education for staff. So our parks maintenance staff, every year they go to a shade conference and several other types of conferences and trainings So we'll be putting that on our list so that's nothing new that they do, just something we'll be able to capture the points for. Tree rescue is an item. So again, as part of the Blossom Rock project, we're able to this year be able to count the 314 native trees that were salvaged on the just the Blossom Rock side of the property. That's not even including what was required of D.R. Horton. This is just on our side and in our first phase of what we ended up planting. But 314 trees were salvaged. In talking with the contractor, 10 to 15% is all that we really lost during that, which is really actually very good. They've done really well. The installation of an outdoor classroom. So we get to count the Ridgeline Park, so that little grassy space with all of the little concrete seating that's near that one basketball court and the playground. That is an outdoor classroom that was put there for there'll be a school right next to it, so it's just north of the dog park. So we'll get to count that this year. Working with the service organization for planting trees. So CDC and the Master Gardeners were out for Make a Difference Day this year. We'll get credit for that. And then the final one is that our department is now a member of the Alliance for Community Trees, and we have a membership within that. So that's what we'll be submitting this year. That application is due by the end of December. Right now, everything is in place, and we're just kind of awaiting. The mayor has to sign off on our final thing before we submit it. So that'll be out there, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any points for the number of volunteers you have working on this project, or hours of volunteers?
So that's the service organization one. We do have to count, our volunteer hours count towards the amount of money that we spend towards trees. So we actually put in the amount of volunteer hours, and that goes towards our budget of $2 per capita. So I think we had something like 8 hours of somebody who planted, and it has to be specific to planting trees. So we didn't have a lot of opportunities for that for a volunteer yet this year.
For the salvage, is that some kind of program that they work with other?
So I'm sorry, I probably should explain that a little bit better. So on any project that we do, even on any of our projects, the city requires a native plant salvage plan to be in a landscape architect or somebody of that nature has to draw up the plan. They identify every native plant or tree that is special, and those get marked. You have to salvage them. So in other words, dig them out of the ground if they're going to be, or keep them, protect them in place, or dig them up and have them in like these ones were all put in a nursery that was on site. And then they are replanted on the project. So they're huge mature trees that are repurposed for the project. The main reason is so that in our community we don't lose, the native species that we have here in the desert. If we aren't going to use it or salvage them, that has to be opened up to the public or another like nonprofit or some type of other public entity that could come, and they'd have to do it at their own cost. And then that landscape, was it landscape architect or is it a different title? Dave, do you know that has to do it? It's either an arborist or Thank you. Okay. So they would also determine, there's some trees that are not going to be they're not going to live if you took them out or whatever. So they would mark on that plan the ones that are not rescuable or usable, and you would end up just getting rid of those ones. Does that help to explain what that is?
It did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Liz. All right. It looks like next we will have new business, and it's a presentation and discussion on the citywide special event permitting process from Riley.
That's okay. I do. No, you're okay. Good evening. I am here to present to you on our special event process that we have. We implemented this last year, I believe, was our first full year of implementing it. So this is when we actually require an event application. So if an activity is requiring review, approval, or inspection of 2 or more city or region departments, So if an event is going to need PD's assistance, if they're going to need the fire department to come out, if they need Parks and Rec services, Public Works, if they need barricades, right-of-way permit, something like that. So if it requires 2 or more of those departments, it will then require an application. Any activity that's held outdoors on public or private property that is inconsistent with the legal use of the property under the city zoning ordinance. So if their zoning is not for what they're going to use it for, then they would have to fill out an application. If it changes their legal occupancy limits of the property, so if their property only had 100 people and they are going to expand outside to make it 200 to 300 people, they would have to fill out an application. And then the use or impact of any city street, sidewalk, alley, flow of traffic, or right-of-ways. So if they're, yes.
She's like, we're moving on.
Yeah, it's like you're done. So if they are going to, this Friday, there is a side-by-side parade that they are taking their side-by-sides, decorating, and going through each park. So they are going to affect our city streets and traffic. So they were required to have a special event application, even though they're only getting the assistance of the police department because they're affecting the city streets. So if they meet one of these requirements, they have to have an application, or they're supposed to have an application, I should say.
Can I ask a quick question?
You can.
Before I forget. So the legal occupancy limit of the property. So if a business inside, say, holds 500 people, and then they're going to do a parking lot thing, and then there's going to be another, like, say, 200 people.
As long as at one time they don't go over 500 people. So if, say, they're going to have their sidewalk sale, but they're still not going to have more than their occupancy at one given time, then they don't have to
I just
fill
wanted
out
to
an
make sure I
application.
understood that.
So
like
it's
if the occupancy is 500, it doesn't matter inside, outside, as long as it doesn't go over.
correct. So if the VFW held their concert and it definitely went over their occupancy because they were doing it outside and they had about 800 people at one time, then they filled out their application for that. So as long as they're not going over their occupancy level at any one time, then they don't. So their little sidewalk sales and stuff like that don't require one.
Thanks.
Any other questions on when an application is needed? Okay. So events that do not require an application but may require other notices. So obviously a memorial processional, so if they're going to be on the roads, but they're not going to cause too many problems, if they just notify us so we're aware. Neighborhood or block parties that do not impact right-of-ways. So if people can still get by, we just ask that they notify us that they're having it. And then activities that involve for-profit or nonprofit vendors. So if you're going to have a vendor at your event, you have to notify the city clerk's office. You do not have to go through the whole event application just to have vendors at your get-together or event.
And that includes food trucks?
That includes food trucks.
And just to clarify on block parties, so because in most HOAs and neighborhoods, those are actually private streets, they're not public right-of-way, so that's why they would be able to, they might block off a street in the middle of their area. Again, it's just really letting folks know, so that way fire knows if they need to go a different route, if there's something else like that, but it doesn't require a major event.
Pity point, application spelled wrong on the page.
Thanks, Frank.
Just suddenly hit
Ooh,
me right in the nose.
processional. I thought it was supposed to be processional. Where'd you see that?
Here you go. We're moving on.
She meant to do that.
We do have two different kind of events. So we have a civic event and we have a community event. Our civic event is a activity or gathering that's not more than 4 consecutive days in 1 year. It is organized and sponsored by the city or in conjunction with a nonprofit. It has been approved by City Council during the budget process. It is open to all participants on an equal basis. And they promote or benefit the city and its residents and or sponsoring organizations. So our City Council has approved, I'm going to say the wrong number, 6 now? 6 civic events. So Lost Dutchman Marathon, Lost Dutchman Days, Lost Dutchman Days Parade, Antique Tractor Show, Veterans Day Parade, and Ben Jonson Days are our current City Council approved civic events. The event sponsor submits event application and all vendor paperwork, and they pay $50 a day, which covers the temporary vendor application fee. With all other events, each vendor is responsible for paying their application fees. So that is the big difference in vendor-wise with civic events. And we call them community events, other events. And then obviously these events have the full support of the city. So we are heavily involved in Lost Dutchman Marathon, Lost Dutchman Days, the Tractor Show, the parades, and Ben Jonson Days.
Do the vendors apply to the city clerk with that application? Do they
So
take it
the
there?
event sponsor is responsible for getting all of their applications for civic events. So the event sponsor takes on that role as getting all of the applications, and then the event sponsor is responsible for turning those into the city clerk's office. With community events, the vendor themselves are responsible for getting with the city clerk to get their business license and make sure they're all set up. Any questions on our civic events? So these, when somebody fills out their event application, these are what we are kind of looking at for what we're going to require for them. So if they are serving alcohol, they have to go through the process of getting a event liquor license if they don't already have one. Then that requires every department also looks at the event liquor license and has to approve or deny that. If they're going to have food or beverages, so if they're going to have food trucks, we have to make sure that the food trucks have city business license, a Pinal County health permit, and their TPT license, which is a tax. Transaction
privilege tax.
There we go. I always get the 2 T's switched.
I only know it because I have to do it monthly.
I also spelled beverages wrong in this slide. I'm doing really great on my spelling today, guys.
Well, both Jamie and Allison missed it whenever we reviewed it, so we won't let you take the only blame.
I promise I made
and
somebody
bus-
else look at it.
And business, but that's okay. It's
We did.
it's pretty though. I was gonna compliment how nice it flows.
Pretty sure I saw a different. Nope, this is the exact same one. And then also business activities and other considerations. So if they're going to have bounce houses, if they're going to have a parade, stuff like that, those are the other considerations that we look at as we're looking at applications. Yes.
Can we go back to the food and non-alcoholic beverages?
Yes.
So the potlucks and picnics do not require food permits. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
So if your church is going to have a member-only community or member picnic, then they do not have to have a permit. If you're coming out to have an event to the public and you are cooking food for the public, you have to have a permit. So if your family's coming to the park to do your family barbecue, your family Thanksgiving, you're not required to have a health permit. You will have a park permit to use the park, but you don't have to have a Pinal County health permit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just wanted publicly a clarification on that. Thank
Yes.
you.
So you cannot feed the public without a permit, but you can feed your congregation, your family, your small group of friends, not the public.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Related, I don't know if this is something I think we had talked about it in the past. when it comes to the permitting process, is there availability for that to be done here in Apache Junction, or do they have to go to Florence
So to further
for like a food permit?
food permit, so they do have to go to Florence to
Okay.
get that. But if they have their Maricopa County permit, so a lot of food trucks will have one for Mesa. So if they have their Maricopa County permit, Pinal County is now accepting that because they've already gone through that process. So they just have to send it to Pinal County, and then even our city clerk's office will accept the
essentially
Maricopa.
accept
Yeah,
it.
because it is, as long as they've gone through one of the processes, they're almost similar, exactly the same.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, Maricopa has so many more businesses. They're
Yeah.
kind of ahead of the game anyway. So, okay, yeah, because I know it had been talked about in the past of like being us holding us time or once a month or whenever quarterly of like Pinal County being here in town to approve food and beverage vendors because the trip out there is far, but.
Yeah, and I haven't heard of them coming out to do accept those, but they have done it to where they're accepting Maricopas now. So
Okay.
it does make it easier if they've already gone through the Maricopa process.
And the alcohol, is that 30 days in advance, 60 days in advance?
You're asking me, it's 60, I think.
Well, it's 60 days for us.
Yes.
To approve, but I think it's something like 10 or whatever that the state liquor, so that's all through the state liquor license. In order to get it, there's a certain stipulation, and it's all there in that handbook that you guys all got.
Yeah, I'll show you the handbook briefly. We're not going to go through the whole thing. We're not going to go through that whole thing.
Okay.
So this is the process that an applicant goes through. So they submit the application to me. I send it out to our team, and then it is either approved or denied, or we come back and say, we approve this if we can do this. Can we change this? We feel more comfortable with this. And the departments that are involved in that approval process is our police department, the fire department, public works, city clerks, and then Parks and Rec reviews it. And this process, depending on how, actually, I'm skipping ahead, sorry. So the process, depending on how large the event is, depends on how fast it goes. We tell everybody for larger events, it will take us about 60 calendar days to get through it. I will tell you, it's never taken us 60 calendar days to look through a event application. For smaller, simple events, we ask to give us about 15 calendar days to get you an answer. Our team is very good at getting me what I need within 2 days of sending it. Sometimes it is back and forth, though, of the police department has a question on this, and then they respond, and then I go back to PD and say, here's their answer, and we work back and forth. And then you all got a copy of our special event handbook. So this is on our website. This is given to anybody that wants to host an event, and it basically walks them through the process.
It is very thorough,
Thank you.
very thorough.
So we also have nice flow charts so that it kind of, people can read this flow chart really simply, really fast to see if they meet any of these categories. So the city clerk department helped work on this, and we've had it for quite a while. Before we even had the handbook or the process, we've had these flow charts. Same with the vendor processes, so it tells them if they have vendors, exactly what they need to do.
This is a new handbook, now, right?
Yes. And then it goes through the process, the review, when we issue a permit, the timeline, and then the next pages, you also got a copy of the event application. So the next pages will walk somebody step by step on how to fill out their application. So it tells each item that they're filling out what we are looking for in that item. So their insurance requirements, their vendor requirements, activities, their marketing plan. It tells them event security. It gives them an idea of how much it would cost if they have to have off-duty police officers. And then at the very end, we have resources and contact information. So the liquor license is on here. Pinell County Health Department is on here. Their transaction privilege tax, how to get an off-duty officer, all right here, one page with links. Then go to the websites. And then I also included attachments of what we are looking for insurance purposes, exactly what I need, what a site plan looks like, so what we would like to see in the site plan, what a business license looks like, what a TPT looks like. So it's all right there for everybody to easily see what they need.
This could not be any more thorough. If somebody does not know the legal requirements, I don't know what to say anymore.
That's right.
Huh? Or like I said, this is staying in my car with all my other resources.
And then is there any other questions that I can answer about this process?
I see.
We are working on, now that I have taken over, we are working on getting more information out to businesses, working with the chamber. I'm working with our marketing director. She's going to help me put together something that we can get out through our economic development team, the chamber, so that hopefully businesses in the city know the process, and then they can get to know me, and we can.
And then they can't get away with anything that they've been getting away with.
So I do want to emphasize, though, that this is a gradual, so it's always about educating. So Riley used to only be responsible for the park, everything that happened on park property or city property. And then we had a different, up in the city manager's office, Al Bravo used to worry about everything else throughout the whole city. So we definitely do not have the staff to go out. We're not looking through the flyers to see who's offering a special event. We're not out there trying to get people in trouble. If they're doing something and it causes problems, you know, we're probably going to reach out to them later and say, next time, this is what your steps are. We are not asking for people to find out people not following the process properly. We just don't have the staff for that. But Riley is proactively, any groups that we have known are, you know, either challenging or don't understand the process, she's been meeting with them individually. I think a great example Jamie had shared about our food truck Fridays at Flatiron. Did I say it all wrong?
Fridays at Flatiron.
Fridays at Flatiron. You know, that was an event that was happening in the parking lot there nearby with all those businesses. They're great to work with. Riley and Jamie went and met. Talked with them about how we could partner. And, you know, they were filling out special event application stuff. They were going through the business, I should say, the business licensing aspects. But it's just nice having somebody in the department that is proactive in the city, reaching out to folks, talking about how we can work together. And so we really focused a lot on asking in the budget for this position and to be able to pull Riley away from all the different responsibilities she had, moving it more towards facility reservations and rentals, as well as a special citywide special event process, and then rodeo grounds promotions and management. So
I was thinking the rodeo grounds probably helped motivate having the handbook put together.
Yeah, well, so our fire chief and our police chief are from bigger cities. So when they came in, they are very event-minded people. So they kind of pushed for this. Liz and I took on helping with it because we need it for our events anyway. So we helped a lot. PD, I will say I put it together, but that everybody that I listed was heavily involved in helping me get all the information for this handbook, getting it together, and helping with getting a more, I would say, an easier process for people to go through. So we are excited. We did it, I think it's the first full year, and it's been going great. All the people have been really, everybody loves the handbook. It's super easy for them to fill out applications. I will sit down with people and help them fill out their application if they need it. Whatever we can do to help make their event successful, we want to do. We don't want to not help people have their events.
Right, you don't want to discourage it, but
No.
in the same, aspect, there's rules and policies, and they're there for a reason, and safety, and
And after Last Dutchman Day, so March, April, May-ish, we are going to look at a special events ordinance to add to our city code. We don't really have one that's not related to vendors, so that we can have an actual ordinance, so that if people then aren't following, we do have something that we can do to enforce it. Because right now, we don't really have a way to enforce if people aren't following rules. So that will be one of my big projects after I get through Last Dutchman Days.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Riley. We really appreciate it.
I locked you out, Liz.
All right. It looks like we're going to do the election of Parks and Recreation Commission Chairperson and Vice Chairperson. So I am going to call for a motion to open nominations for the position of Chairperson.
Madam, go ahead.
I move that we open the nominations for chairperson.
Second,
All right. May I have a roll call vote to open nominations, please?
Cheryl Bigelow.
yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So, like, my
Did you
mic
not
is
hear
off.
me?
Felicia Madrid.
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
yes.
Judy Bory.
Yes.
D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So may I have a nomination for the position of Chairperson?
I nominate Heather Mueller for chairperson.
Chairperson calls. I just want to make sure because I want to go slow. All right. So then I ask for a second time. May I have a nomination for the position of Chairperson? And I go for third. May I get a nomination for a position of Chairperson? All right. Then I call for the motion to close nomination. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Is there any other nomination?
Any other nominations for Chairperson? Okay. I call for the motion to close nominations for the position of Chairperson.
I move that the nominations for chairperson be closed.
Do I have a second?
I'll
I
second
second.
that.
Was that second for Judy?
Okay.
If you got it first.
Sorry, my chair is so
Thank
low.
you.
I can't raise my chair.
May I have a roll call vote to close the nominations, please?
Yes. Felicia Madrid.
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes.
Judy Bory.
Yes.
D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and that passes. We are closed.
So I call for a motion to approve that Heather Moeller for the position of Chairperson.
Madam Chair, I move that Heather Mueller be approved for chairperson.
And do I have a second?
I second.
May I have a roll call, please, to vote to approve Heather Moeller as Chairperson?
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes.
Judy Bory.
Yes.
D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Felicia Madrid.
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes for Heather Moeller to be the chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So selection of vice president or vice chair. Oh, I got all excited. I was blurry. Sorry about that. I call for a motion to open nominations for the position of vice chairperson.
I move that we open the nominations for the vice chairperson.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
May I have a roll call vote to open nominations, please?
D.L. Kine.
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
and Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and that passes, so we are open for nominations.
May I, oops, sorry. May I get a nomination for the position of Vice Chairperson?
I nominate D.L. Kine for Vice Chairperson.
May I get a nomination for the position of Vice Chair? May I get a nomination for the position of Vice Chair? Any other nominations for Vice Chair? I call for a motion to close nominations for the position of Vice Chairperson.
Madam Chair, I move that the nominations for Vice Chairperson be closed.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
May I have a roll call vote to close the nominations, please?
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and nominations are closed.
I call for a motion to approve the first nominee, D.L. Kine, for the position of Vice Chair.
I move that D.L. Kine be approved for Vice Chairperson.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
May I have a roll call to vote to approve D.L. Kine as Vice Chair?
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes that D.L. is our vice chair.
Congratulations. Woo-hoo. All right. Very nice. I went a little bit smoother than I was anticipating, so I was just like, I know it's written, but still, I get a little nervous. A little nervous.
You're fine.
Looks like there's no call to order or call to the public. I apologize. So I'm going to ask commissioners if they have anything to suggest or recommend being added to the next agenda.
I would like an update on the rodeo grounds for Last Dutchman Days. Just in anticipation, kind of seeing where we're at with it. I feel like we haven't talked in it a bit. And we just want to see Riley again.
The truth comes out.
Her face.
You're never going to escape, Riley.
Poor Riley. She does this and this and this and.
All right. So it looks like I'm going to ask for a motion for the selection of meeting dates, times, locations, and purpose.
Madam Chair, I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on February 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Was that
May-
you, D.L.,
Yes.
for second? Thank you.
And may I have a roll call, please?
D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes.
All right. Been a fantastic meeting, been a fantastic year. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 6:54.
Merry Christmas to all.
Yes.